topic is playing with yourself.
Yes.
We came to this agreement together. We have a lot of ideas for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think we can learn a lot.
We have different perspectives coming in, and a couple
There's
different
one perspective,
positions.
first-person perspective.
Well, people, there's a lot of different ways to play with yourself.
Okay.
Did you want an actual explanation, or do you trust us?
Take it away, gentlemen.
Do you want to, or should I, Eddie's?
So.
Well, hang on. I mean, do it right. You gotta. Hello, welcome to.
Hello, welcome to the Drinks and Discussions podcast.
Hi. We're leading the show for some reason today.
First up is.
My name is Adis. You can catch me on the Divinity 2 Original Sin playthrough that's had their first video release yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Check that
We're
out
going to jail for this. That applies to so many things we did in that.
Yes. Many things. You can check us out on the King's Crossing that just had its season finale. Go check that episode out. It'll be coming up soon. For
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yep.
And then we also have our sponsor.
Yeah, that's me. I do a podcast with my friend Brad, aka Chison. It's called And I Took That Personally. You can find it on Apple and Spotify podcasts. It's myself and Brad doing a show where we talk about movies and take them way too personally, get way too into specific things like what is a Minotaur and why is a Minotaur. We go wild with it, and it reaches nonsense levels. There's also we have other people that would normally be here, like Shifty Games.
Shifty Games never comes to this.
He came one time.
Did he?
Wasn't he in the dice rolly one where I thought everybody was playing a prank on me?
Oh, the one shot.
Yes, the
with
first
Def Wang.
Def Wang. Yes, try some.
There?
Oh.
Okay. Well, there is the Discord, which is what I will advertise here. We have the Discord. There should be a link in stream somewhere. I don't have the ability to do that, but hopefully that's going there perhaps soon. Join us in the Discord where you can find out about all these opportunities to do things, to have wild times. We do a lot of different games. You'll see on our show tonight, we talk about a lot of different things. TTRPG, there's also Milsim stuff, and if Fred was here, he'd tell you all about how he has an Arma 3 group, and they're probably looking for a machine operator or something role.
You still never announced that in the Discord.
Well, I'm gonna enlist as his announcer. But yes, we do all sorts of games like King's Crossing. There's also the Divinity, as was mentioned, but there's also Strange Town of Golden Ridge coming up
real soon.
And am I missing any of our sponsors? Advertisers, affiliated streams. We work with a lot of creative people.
Battle Buddies.
Yes, the Battle Buddies. It's our little Timo Supremo. It's what we call the closest knit crew. The people who can play by the rules, I guess, in a sense, is we take things seriously. We try not to lose.
We take things seriously. I got a smudge stick. Get out of here, you bitch.
Okay, one of the battle buddies is overcome by emotion very easily, and so some of us are trying to get better. And if you watch our last Phasmophobia, I died 3 out of 4 times.
3 out of 4. Yep. And then the fourth one you survived because you went and hid in the van and made me go in for you. And then I died.
Correct. Yes. I'm a little too brave for my own good. Yeah, that's Battle Buddies.
Madame Bella says, I just came back and I get to hear the reference about the smudge stick. Classic.
Nice.
But yeah.
Yeah.
How's the drumstick?
It's not as good as the whiskey sips.
With Adis.
Is it time?
All right. it's time for the
Play
whiskey
the theme
sips.
song.
Ba-da-bap, ba-da-bap, ba-da-bap. Meow.
I thought it'd be like smooth jazz.
That was.
But yeah, that was a little bit more like peppy commercial. But yeah, that's fine. Sorry.
Hey kids, you like alcohol?
Yep.
All right, so today,
play the theme song. Hey kids.
hey kids, you like alcohol?
Let's do shots.
So today's dram, is a Glendronach 15 revival. It's a 15-year Glendronach. I've spoken about Glendronachs and my love for them here on the podcast before. I love it. It's a Highland Scotch. So that means that it's mainly a barley mash bill with peated barley. Made in Scotland. It is a single malt Scotch. Highland just defines the region where the Scotch is made. Highland also encompasses other things.
Like the elevation.
Kind of the elevation, yeah. It's very well known for having a very fruity sort of note to it, just based on some of the water that they use, the springs that they use around there. So that's one of the things I love about the Glendronachs is you get some of that smoky peatiness that you would expect from a Scotch, but you also get notes of like cherry and other dark fruits with it, which I really enjoy in my whiskeys. So, yeah. So that's my whiskey sip for today. Hey kids, you like alcohol?
Should make a whole commercial for it. Someday. Now on to Drinks and Discussions, hosted by Mr. Pickles and Adise.
Yes.
Yeah. So we were looking at concepts, and Adise mentioned solo player games. And to me, that brought up a lot of different ideas of what a solo player game could be. And Adise had an entirely different idea. So rather than what that one guy was saying in the unaired episode from last week about like problem players as a topic, we thought this might be a little bit better of one.
Yep. We could also spice in there. We did have a recent Minds of Phandelver game, which unfortunately Tough Nuts isn't here for that, but we can go over some of the details of what happened in that as well.
Yeah, actually, let's kick off with that because we haven't heard about the Minds of Phandelver game. I mean, I'm not saying Pickles, you're hosting.
I think that we should kick it off with the Minds of Phandelver because we haven't heard that in a while, and I've never heard of that before because I've never had you guys start with me.
It's a good idea, Pickles. All right.
I get to be like Tough Nuts or whatever. Like I just show up and I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening. I'm just here.
So last time on the Minds of Phandelver, I think the last you guys heard was we were on our way to the Red Brand's hideout. Is that ringing any bells?
Because you've had 2 sessions since we heard last. Because you had one and we forgot to talk about it.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that means, okay, so just before the Red Brand. So we spent, Wrath will probably know exactly what I'm about to say. We spent an entire session in town.
We spent, and I was like, yep. No way.
No way. Yeah, so we all just spent one of our sessions completely in town. We had a couple of things that we had to track down for some information about our quest because we had just gotten back from the goblins' hideout, and the goblin hideout. We kind of found out some more information. We were able to rescue our. It's been a while for me too. we rescued one of our two beneficiaries. We were able to get him back to town, get him healed up, and he was able to tell us more about the Wave Echo Cave, which is kind of this, where we heard that Gundren Rockseeker has a map for, and was taken by King Groll for the Black Spider, whoever that may be. But so we spent most of the day going around the town, finding out more information about King Groll, more information about asking around about Wave Echo Cave, and then we ended up in a bit of a battle where our rogue went off to go and try to meet with somebody without the rest of the party. The rest of the party was kind of healing up from our wounds, drinking in the tavern, just having a merry old time. And our rogue decides it's a good time to go and talk to this person, and decides to try to break into their residence, which he failed at exceptionally, where four of the Red Brands ended up catching him as he was about to go into this house. And so them being kind of like a local mob sort of protection force, they decided to confront our rogue about this. Our rogue then decides, all right, now's a good time for me to leave. But the Red Brands didn't want that, so chase ensues. He makes it back out in front of the tavern with just enough health left to go. And then the rest of us all stream out of the tavern to try and take out these, to stop our friend from getting beat up.
What a classic scene. You're just having a drink in a bar, and here comes your rogue friend. Guys! And everyone's, grab your weapons. We're going out.
We're going. But there was one that didn't actually make it outside, and that was our druid, because she ended up wild shaping into a bear in the threshold of the doorway, which got her stuck in the threshold of the door. So using this as
Classic
a means
Bjorn.
of terrifying, classic Bjorn, using this as a means of intimidation, the cleric, myself, tried to thaumaturge his way into the Red Brands, thinking that there's more bears than there actually are. And after our monk punches a couple of people, our rogue is able to dispatch one or two of them. We were able to capture one, left him tied up outside, went to bed, woke up, and he was gone.
Yeah, that's classic, you guys.
Classic us, yes. We've done that so many times, and it's starting to get concerning how many times we forget and leave people around.
Yeah, you guys did that with the twig
stuff.
blight too.
Yes.
Tied up a twig blight. You're like, you're our prisoner, and then just left.
Left. That is pretty much what happened in the previous episode. So this current one, most current one that we had on Sunday was not this Sunday, last Sunday. We were going over to the Red Brands hideout because we got information on that. We were able to talk to this person that the rogue was trying to talk to the night before. Turns out she just wanted us to go and take out the Red Brands leader, try to spare as many of the Red Brands as we could.
You're like, well, about that.
No more killing from now on.
Yeah.
We were able to, we scoped around the place, made it into the old dilapidated mansion up there at the south end of town. We were able to get down into the basement where we trusted our druid with doing some wild shaping again to go and become a spider to try and eavesdrop on the conversations of some of the Red Brands in there.
Right.
And turns out they think that we're horrible people because they thought that they were trying to just be like the local protection force, and here's these people coming in and murdering them. So, yeah, actions have consequences.
Fair point, yeah.
But with that realization, we were able to get downstairs when our druid was discovered. We were able to get downstairs and peacefully let the two Red Brands that were there go. We then looked around the rooms, found a secret passageway into a side hallway, had a lot of trouble getting across a little ditch.
Been there before.
Yeah, we've those traps, they'll get you every time.
Yeah. So there's a crevice. You have to cross it.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck! This is gonna take hours.
Well, see, our problem wasn't getting across it. It was the fact that our DM Tough Nuts didn't account for us going back and forth across it so many times. We went across it. We realized, oh, we need to go back across it, and then we went across again, and we.
So then half the game was you guys crossing this.
This thing, yes.
Yep. Fair enough.
But we get to this kind of cathedral, or more of like a crypt with a couple of sarcophagi, as well as a big tree on the side, a stone tree embossed into the wall. We were able to then go towards the next door, but as soon as our druid hits the next door, or no, it was our monk that hit the next door, all the skeletons that were laying on the ground in the room came to life. Fight ensues. We actually did some pretty good team combat in that one. And once the combat had concluded, we entered a little jail cell off in the side and found another 2 red brands, but this time it was a jail cell with a woman and her 2 children in it, who looked worse for wear. So we promptly dispatched the one that was in the act of doing terrible things, and then we allowed the other one. Before we saw before we got a feel for what was going on, we let the other one go. We also heard a thump in the background as he also died in the pit that we had just gone across. We were able to, and that's kind of where we left off, was getting the woman and her children out of the basement of that thing, sending her off to the town's priestess. Yes, across the crevice. Down the crevice, yes. Yeah. Well, our monk after taking a bit of damage in the fight, tries to go and get the key from the one that fell into the pit and ended up falling in herself and was downed. So that was another set of plans that our DM was like, I didn't think you guys
sounds
were
like
gonna
us
go
in
back to
Baldur's
this.
Gate 3 about how our luck went.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember that clip I made of just, oh, I'm down. Oh, I'm down. Ah, dang it. Ah, damn it. Ah, I'm down.
Oh, no.
And then we get to the end, we win. We're like, ah, easy.
Easy mode. Game's on easy.
That was a great clip. I'll have to find that. That was a good one.
But yeah, so it catches up to where we are. And the next thing that we're got to do is go and find Glassstaff, the head of the Red Brands.
Finish
that quest, and once we finish off the Red Wrens and finish off Glassstaff, we should be able to get more information of this from this character that gave us this quest in town.
There you go. Now we're all caught up on Mines of Fandover.
Yeah.
Back to you, Pickles.
I guess that means it's time to talk about the subject we were here to talk about, that we had decided on pre-stream.
Mm-hmm.
So the topic was solo playing. A solo player playing a game. And as I said, I don't know if this is in your final video, but I said I had a lot of different ideas about what that would be and how that operates. And Adis also had an idea that I didn't even think of at the time. But I'm curious, without us spilling our cards on the table, which neither of us did before stream, what does that call out to you? Like, what do you think of when I say, are you interested in playing a solo player D&D game?
So my first thought was like, I'm DM and player, and I was like, that sounds super lame. But now I'm thinking it just means there's a DM and you're just the only player.
And that second one's happened to you quite a
Yeah,
few times.
second one is more reasonable, mainly just because we don't have a huge player base to pull from, so it's a lot easier to just be like, hey, one person I can line my schedule up with. 5, it's a little bit harder. So, hey, you and I have a similar schedule. Do you want to start? And if people join along the way, perfectly fine, which we've done. We've done a lot. Actually, I think King's Crossing and Strange Town and Golden Ridge both started out that way.
And Stonehelm with Took the Minotaur.
Yeah.
That started out just you punching a lizard in the woods.
Yeah, and then some guy walked
It's a
up
lizard
covered in
man.
blood and said, "Hey!" And then some creepy girl
Frankie?
followed us around. No, you know, people made fun of Frankie. I couldn't do his voice right because I was losing my voice, but people were like, they made fun of him and they punched Hopkins. I was like, damn, poor Frankie and Hopkins, man. They did not have a good festival.
I thought they were fun.
They had a great time dancing. Yeah, Frankie got made fun of and Hopkins got punched in the face. So I was like, oh damn, this isn't about that. Solo player games. Honestly, I'm kind of a fan. I feel like we've had some really good, like I said, some of our best games have come. I mean, Strange Town and Golden Ridge, Stonehelm, and King's Crossing are probably some of our top 3 games, and those all started with solo adventure.
I think with King's Crossing, it was initially in the planning stage. You planned it initially as a Mr. Pickle show.
Yeah.
But
Someone did
Brad
join.
joined.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's technically, but yeah. I'm surprised actually. I would have thought you'd. My thought would be that you'd say, "Look, it's a good way to start, but it's not sustainable." Or it's more fun with more
Took was
players.
sustainable, and Took only got ruined because other players joined.
I think we only quit that game because life events happened.
Right, no,
and,
but
yeah, we had to for a while.
think about the path that Took was on, and then all of a sudden some guy comes up covered in blood and was like, I'm joining your party, and Took's like, I don't know about that. And then some creepy girl just kind of followed us around, and we were like, okay, yay.
Well, the villagers killed him, and you were not involved with that. And then you got thrown through portals or something, and then you were on the other side of the continent, and then we had that one guy who joined Awful Pirate.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, and I think Awful Pirate, myself, and that girl who just kind of followed us around and never actually joined the party, but just kind of stayed within eyesight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I said, a solo game isn't terrible.
So yeah, like that's sort of what I thought as well, is like the idea of one player, one GM. It's not the worst thing ever. But I also thought of Call of Cthulhu has a number of books that are adventures you play by reading through it, like a choose your own adventure, but I think they're more advanced. I think they all start with Alone Against as like the prefix in the title, like Alone Against the Wendigo. I'm pretty sure is one of them, or Alone Against the Dark. And I guess you're able to play with a Call of Cthulhu character through it by making choices based on what skill you want to try and use and whether it succeeds or fails. I think they give you options, but that's one of those things where I thought, yeah, that sounds kind of lame. I love Call of Cthulhu stuff, but like that sounds. I've been there. I've read Goosebumps, but then I sort of remembered that with a lot of my, it's like starting with Traveler, I found it was easier to figure out how difficult encounters are if I just play through it myself like one time. Like not with all the RP or anything, but like I make a group of characters. I say these are 3 theoretical characters in a party, like I expect to have. I will put them through this encounter, see how they handle it, see if there's any deficits. I also will run it through like, would any of these 3 characters find this clue? If they all just rolled, and I might have like a notice of D6, one of D8, one of D4, you know, that kind of thing, so that it's like a grab bag of different skill levels and to see how difficult or easy the encounters are. And that's not really playing with yourself, but in a way it technically is, because I'll run it by the rules, especially for like combat. But
yeah, I guess that makes sense in the regard of prepping for a game with other people. It works. If you were just doing that just for fun, I'd be like, Pickles, you know we have access to like video games, right?
What are video games?
We can play a video game together. You don't have to sit there and roll a dice against yourself. There are other things we could do. I will play with you.
But Adis had an idea that I've heard of, but I didn't think of it initially.
Masturbation.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's taught me.
I've heard of this.
I've heard of this, Matt. What are these dark arts that you speak of? Yes. The point that kind of came to mind for me when I thought of like self-play games for tabletop RPG is this idea of this emerging idea of using AI as like a DM for you, which I think, now that I think about it, kind of falls into line with if you're doing a solo playthrough of one of these kind of one of these video games where like you play a Baldur's Gate 3 solo, or you play Divinity 2 Original Sin solo. One of those sorts of things where the computer is creating the randomness for your adventure, whereas maybe you or the computer is controlling like the inputs of like situations that you're being put into.
The RNG.
Which, yeah. So I haven't personally had much experience with it, but it is something that I've seen like advertisements for and stuff like that, and looking at it from a like new player perspective, it's interesting to kind of see that sort of a market emerging with the new technologies that are coming out. But I don't know.
I think
from
it'd have a market.
Long time. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like from a long time player / DM perspective, do you think something like that would be viable in the long run?
Not even as a longtime player, like, no, not from me. Because, like, look at Baldur's Gate 3. It's coming out, and it's going to be fully released. It's going to have all these new characters. It's going to have new storyline, like, all that. I'm not going to play it until my friends play, because I want to play with friends. Like, that's where I find the enjoyment in that game. I want to, tackle it with a party. And that's not just that. I mean, Door Kickers 2 is a military close quarters combat tactical operations simulator. I told Pickles, hey, if you ever want to play this with me, like, we can play together. Or Adis, if you get it and want to play as well. Adis, we're basically include you on all our games. It's just you never respond in the Discord. So we're like,
yeah.
So we, like, for me, it's the co-op part of most of these games. Like, there are very few games nowadays that actually play solo. And that's kind of why I still stream. Like, my stream is dead. It's been dead for years. It used to be big. I used to have like 30 to 50 average viewers. I used to have over 200 subscribers. I don't anymore. It's a dead stream. I should quit. The thing that keeps me going is because I'm bored and I want to play a video game, but I don't want to play by myself. So stream allows me to pretend like I have friends that I'm playing with and like talking to while I'm playing.
You don't have to pretend.
So for me personally, no, I wouldn't find myself sitting and playing with the AI thing unless maybe I was doing it on stream. I guess that might be an argument. Hey, testing this out, and Tiger would say, "Take off your shirt," and that would be the experience.
Wait. But what if it was like a new thing that's not out yet? Don't get your hopes up, people. If there was a thing that was like, hey, you get a GM, but it's an AI, and you can have up to 3 players.
And I was playing it with my friends?
Yeah, and it will save your progress, and you can come back to it and keep playing a randomised AI.
I would absolutely try it. It might be good, but that's not playing by yourself.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, that would fall into my category of being able to play co-op with friends, because that's a huge part of me, I guess, now. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I moved across the country and don't have any, like, actual friends. Now it's like, hey, I'm, thriving and craving for, people to play games with, because that's where I get my social stimulation. From a DM, I'll shut up here in a minute. From a DM perspective and, like, long-time player, is there a base for that? Absolutely, I think there would be, because I think I'm not like everyone else, and I think a lot of people are okay not playing co-op games, especially in the fact that I want to play co-op games, and like, no, I'm okay, and they go and play solo games. I'm like, So obviously they're okay playing solo games. Yeah, you pickles. Play Raft with me. No, I'm gonna play by myself. Play 7 Days to Die with me. No, I'm gonna play by myself. Okay. So in that regard, is there a market for it? Absolutely. There are people who would be like, hey, yeah, I want to play this, I would prefer to play this by myself rather than do this other thing. Or there's people like my buddy Trison who isn't in an area where he can play with other people because he doesn't have the internet connection. So he relies on the solo stuff to get his gameplay stimulation and stuff out. So for a self-stimulating play session, there's definitely a market. Not for me.
Yeah, I can't say I'd really want to try the AI too much unless it was a group thing. So that's the fun of playing a character, right? And telling a story. Like I have the same issue with people who use AI to write their adventure for them. Because I'm like, that's the fun. That's the fun, is coming up with ideas you're passionate
they're the DM,
about.
but they're using an AI to do their job for them.
Well, like I guess I'm sort of a technophobe here, and just like I don't like the use of AI in D&D at all. It's like part of the fun of GM, or part of the fun is GMing. Like I like, so having an AI do it is like, but that's the fun part. And like playing is fun. So having like an AI player would also be like, that's a whole different topic. But like I originally said, that having an AI write your adventure or give you prompts, it's like, aren't you already passionate about something? Because as I approach storytelling, is I want to tell a story that I already have, but I'm trying to figure out how to make it actually fun. And I don't know. This is an old man rant that's going nowhere, but
back in my day, we used to DM it ourselves. Didn't use your fancy techno gizmo gadgets.
I get, like, if you don't have anybody who wants to DM or who isn't a very good one, and so everybody's just like, can we do the AI instead for a while? Like that, I get that, but
God, could you imagine being the DM and someone being like, yeah, can we use the AI instead? I would, if we were doing King's Crossing, you'd be like, can you just get the AI?
But see, like, as a storyteller,
right,
and especially with the last episode, you have been adding so many elements that I believe you are passionate about. Each of those characters you made, you didn't make because you're like, well, I need to fill space. You made it because, well, I want to fill space, and also I want to play this character. Frankie and Hopkins are meaningful to you because that's something that you wanted to make, and you're enjoying playing those characters.
Like
Same
them.
with Dibs. And I think that's where
Adarag even started communicating him with there for a little bit.
I'm still gonna try to learn the language.
Grunkle didn't. Wilfer didn't. Wilfer got up and left. Grunkle just punched him. This isn't like that topic. Go ahead.
I guess my point still being is you're passionate about all these characters, and so your storytelling comes from a place where you're excited. And I feel like while AI can give you a lot of really great ideas, and I've seen some brilliant ideas, it's still just like, I would rather create from an area of, I saw a movie written by another person, produced by another person, acted by a bunch of people, that I thought was stupid, but I could tell better. Like that's the closest I get to like grabbing other material.
I've had a lot of that.
But like, yeah, it's just I don't know.
That or a video game or something where you're like, God, that was so good, but it could have been better.
Exactly.
I would do it this way, and then you bring it into your game.
But otherwise, like lately, I've just been mostly writing whatever adventures come to my mind, and there's influences. But I don't know. I feel like AI is a shortcut, and shortcuts can be good, but they can also take out the experience.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Now that I've heard you guys talk about it and thought about it a little bit more, I mean, you're really taking away by going with the AI element, you're losing that ability to tell a story to somebody else and have that experience of bouncing the ideas off of each other and playing through a story. When you're just typing it back to or typing or rolling dice against a machine, it's not like you're missing that comprehension and those like, oh wow, moments of oh, that's something that I could play into here, and see the expression on their face when they see that you're playing into their hand of doing something like that. So you're missing that interaction.
Well, if you take it back to like episode whatever, where we talked about what is D&D, what is TTRPGs, we said it was mutual storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You completely lose that if you're just talking to an AI. There's no mutual storytelling. Like, you're telling a story to an AI, they're not that doesn't do anything, and them telling a story to you is just some made up code. There's no storytelling to anyone. I'm talking to a wall. Like, hey, did you like my story? The wall doesn't say anything. They don't laugh.
Yes, it was interesting.
Yeah, thanks, wall.
Imagine telling your family, though, because I already don't tell my family about playing D&D, because it's like, my brother will climb a mountain and they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I'll be like, I roleplayed climbing a mountain. And they're like, okay. And it's more meaningful to my group because I use spells to help everybody climb the mountain. We all pitched in, we had an experience, but like, it's our experience, our shared experience. In sociology, they call it the cohort effect, where you share something and that's a shared bond that you have. And so I can't really share D&D with my family, and I'm sure as hell not going to be like, I role-played with a computer and I went up a mountain. It's like, that's even sadder somehow.
I know, when I say like there's a market for it and there are people that would do that, I think it's those kinds of people.
I'm sorry, those people.
I role-played with a computer.
I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I look like this, and I am who I am, and I play D&D, and I think D&D's come a long way. You know, there are a lot of famous people. There are a lot of hot people. There's a lot of popular people. There's a lot of famous people who play D&D. It's not just that. But I think when you're playing against a little robot in your room, like, I think that kind of goes back to the but prove me wrong. Give it 10 years, you know. Maybe everyone's just going to be sitting in a simulation playing with a computer. That'll be me in 10 years.
Maybe AI will get that good, but I still feel like the mediocrity of real people will still shine through. Sometimes it's good to just have something so stupid happen that you're all laughing.
Yes.
And then your parents upstairs are like, wow, I don't see how they're going to commit suicide with this game. They've been giggling for 4 hours straight.
There's one thing I do miss: the in-person games where you're sitting around, you're like, you're laughing, you're sharing drinks, you're having pizza, you're just, you're like, okay, we're gonna take a break, have pizza. You all get up, you're having pizza, and you're talking about the game. You're like, oh my god, do you remember when the crucifix and the smudge stick? Oh my god, like those kind of moments, Like, I miss that. We don't really get that in the virtual. I've talked about that before, but like, I'll notice it a lot. Like, I started Under the Table as like a way to try and like pull some of that back, but because like you don't get that. Like, Pickles and I have had run virtual games for the last couple of years, many years.
I think we're like at 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, virtual only, and
since like 2016, I want to say.
I remember, like, yeah, that sounds right, because that's when I left the West Coast, I think. I remember, like, we would finish a game, and then we'd be like, what did you guys think about the game? Any information? And it's like,
well,
and like, even to this day, like, there are people who will show up for the game and don't say a fucking word all week, but they'll show up for the game. It's like, don't you want to interact with us at all? Like, are we friends? Like, let's talk about the game. Let's reminisce. Let's enjoy the bonding, the cohort effect that we had. And like, just don't really get that in virtual. I mean, a little bit sometimes. I mean, like we've had moments where, you know, it's like, oh man, like I don't really know if this affected you as much, Adise, but we had a moment where we were talking about the Petrified Man
Yes.
and breaking that down.
I was
And
like-
for me, I was so ecstatic. I was like, yes, you're putting pieces together. You're getting it. Oh, this is awesome. And like, it made me really happy. And like, that was a little bit of that, I don't know, is ecstasy the right word? Like a little bit of that high where I was like, yes.
Dopamine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, like, going into like the next 2 days at work, I still was thinking about that, like, oh my god, that's like a huge revelation.
Those kind of moments, I miss those.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think those are things that you really get when you're in an in-person group where you see each other throughout the week. And that's where, like, on here, it's like you see each other in Discord, but no one really talks about it. Like, no one, like, people are just kind of go about their lives and get back to work and stuff. And I get that, but I don't know. I miss having that bond. And I guess that's where, quick shout out to the Battle Buddies. I think that's where that is kind of coming in. We're developing a close-knit team of people who hang out.
We interlock aggressively with each other.
Yes. And maybe that'll, you know, that's supposed to be like a real tight, like, bond of friendship. Like, for example, Pickles, I'm gonna maybe embarrass you a little here or something, but
Okay.
we got standby. We got a review recently.
Uh-oh.
And it said, God, Pickles, we talk a lot.
Well, yeah.
Holy fuck, we talk
I'm a chatty
lot.
Cathy in private messages.
There it is. I could tell you and Pickles have been friends for a long time because you guys are just too iconic together in stream. It's why I stuck around the first time. I watched you guys play Phasmo because it was just hilarious. Like, some people will just legit stare. But you and Pickles are genuinely entertaining and fun to watch. Like, that kind of bond is what we want the Battle Buddies to be. We want to create that group to where whenever we're playing together, we're just vibing off each other, you know, to where there's no, like, awkwardness. It's just, you know, you say something, they say something, like, it's, you can't fake that. And I feel like that's something that is really hard to get in the virtual world. I think it is it does happen. It does occur. It's really hard to get. But when you do get it, it gets people to follow. It gets people on board. Like, holy shit, this shit's entertaining.
Yeah,
I agree.
You don't
but
get
I
that when you're
why
playing
people
when you're playing
want me.
solo. Pickles
Yeah.
has become a fan favorite on stream. Like, people, like, they heard your voice before I even went into this. They heard your voice and like, oh my god, is that Pickles? I hear Pickles.
there's a pickle in the chat.
Yeah.
It's because I get aggressive when I'm scared, apparently now.
Like,
Get back
wait,
in the
I
basement.
hear Pickles.
Yep, this is Pickles.
Yep.
After a day of nonsense.
I remember we were starting King's Crossing and people came in and they're like, wait, I recognize that voice. Is that Pickles? Is he on stream?
But to your Battle Buddies point, I feel like Adise, the other day when we were playing Phasmo, we were all vibing with that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I
I
thought
believe
we
so.
were all pretty in sync.
Then he ditched us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were back in town.
Yeah, you gave us
Huh!
messages.
It's almost like there's a Discord where we talk.
Adise
have
doesn't want
work.
to respond to me
These doesn't
specifically.
look
He's
at
putting
Discord.
off responding to my love mail, where I say thank you for being with me. It means a lot.
What the fuck?
No, I think I say something slightly more normal, but along the same lines.
Basically the same. That's what you were
Pretty much the same.
thinking, but you had to, like, interpret it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't get the Battle Buddies effect playing solo with an AI.
Mhm.
And
No, I'll
that's
play
that's
Wrath
what
with you
I
eventually.
crave. I crave that Battle Buddies effect, that brotherhood, that friendship, that bond, that social interaction. Plus, I'm a very social person, so that also is part of it. So will I play with a robot?
We're all taking the pledge. We won't play with robots.
Strike.
Yeah.
D&D goes on. TTRPG players go on strike against AI inventions.
Fast forward 7 years, this video has now been flagged as a hate crime.
Yeah, we're all wanted criminals. We're on the run from the AI.
No, we
that's
have to like
ours.
put out an apology and be like,
No, the AI
So-
overlords are hunting us down. We are on the run. We are in the underground rebel organization made
Wow.
up of
Fighting against
TTRPG
Skynet.
players.
wow.
They're gonna,
Okay, yeah,
the
sure.
AI is gonna, they're gonna flag this and flag everyone we know who's been on the podcast and be like, these are the rebel organizers. Tough Nuts is over there like, no, what? I built you. What are you talking about?
I made you.
Yeah.
And I can destroy you, father.
Ba, ba, ba. I don't remember the theme song. Hey kids! And with that,
You like alcohol?
we're gonna wrap up. Under the table, or Drinks and Discussions, the RPG podcast hosted by Adis and Mr. Pickles, with guest star Wrath. Me. Hi.
On our guest, his channel. We just posted on this channel for some reason.
Listen, guys, I went and took my dog out and got myself an ice cream cone. I came back and they said they were hosting, so I went with it. There you go. There's the
How these
episode.
things happen.
Thank you for joining. If you want to see more, we record these every other week now, Monday. Next week, I believe we're diving into a mini-series.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. We all just now heard it here first, so there you go.
Heck yeah.